He sips his coffee, scrolling through his phone, completely unaware that someone is watching him. To the world, he is ordinary, maybe a student, a clerk, or a barista. Yet there's something about him, the way he notices details others miss, how calm he stays under subtle pressure, the instinctive way he reads people. One day, that quiet observation will change his life forever. And when it does, nothing about his world will ever feel normal again. Before we dive in, let me know in the comments where you're watching from and what time it is there. It's incredible to see how far these stories travel. And if you love real espionage stories, hit that subscribe button for Spy Shadows so you never miss a deep dive into the hidden world of intelligence. Mossad doesn't recruit heroes, not the already trained, not the physically exceptional. Instead, they look for potential hidden in ordinary lives. People with sharp instincts, emotional intelligence, and adaptability. Traits that, when shaped, become extraordinary. The selection process begins quietly, often in ordinary classrooms, cafés, and workplaces. Places where most people would never think to look for spies. What Mossad watches for first is psychological resilience. Can this person stay calm when a deadline is missed? Handle an argument without overreacting. Make decisions under pressure while keeping their clarity. Physical strength, charisma, and prior knowledge matter little. What counts is adaptability, the ability to stay composed, read situations, and respond effectively when life throws unexpected challenges. Emotional intelligence and observation are equally critical. Mossad looks for people who notice the details others ignore. A twitch of a hand, hesitation in speech, a fleeting micro-expression. These instincts may be ordinary now, but they are gold in the hands of an intelligence operative. Discretion is another non-negotiable trait. Potential recruits must operate without drawing attention, even from themselves at first. Mossad tests trustworthiness subtly. How someone handles personal information, navigates workplace conflicts, or follows instructions without oversight. Versatility and learning capacity are essential. Mossad doesn't care if you've never been a spy. What matters is raw potential, curiosity, problem-solving, and mental agility, because these can be trained into skills far beyond ordinary expertise. When initial interest is identified, contact is low-key. This was how Eli Cohen, the spy who infiltrated the highest levels of Syrian government in the 1960s, was first quietly approached in the late 1950s. Through seemingly innocent social and professional circles in Buenos Aires, where his natural charm and discretion were observed long before. He knew Mossad existed. Next comes intensive evaluation. Psychological tests, simulated scenarios, and controlled stressors reveal how candidates think, act, and react under pressure. The ordinary person begins to discover themselves, their resilience, cunning, and resourcefulness, all without real danger, yet enough to change their self-perception forever. Observation continues over time. Mossad notes how the candidate solves problems, interacts with others, and handles stress. Even mundane behaviors, arriving early to work, noticing small details, staying composed in conflict, reveal hidden potential. Those who excel are quietly nudged toward training opportunities, disguised as professional growth or development programs. One of Mossad's secrets: ordinariness is an asset. Spies must blend seamlessly into society, adopt multiple identities, and perform extraordinary feats while appearing completely normal. The most successful recruits are those who can act naturally under pressure, unnoticed, and adaptable to any environment. Once selected, recruits enter the preliminary phase of skill exposure. Simple tasks test observation, memory, and decision-making. Tracking movements, recalling details from conversations, solving problems under subtle stress. Each task is designed to reveal natural aptitude, focus, patience, and discretion, the foundation for advanced training. Mossad also evaluates moral flexibility. Operatives must make decisions in ethically gray situations, balancing personal values against mission objectives. The selection process identifies those who can maintain judgment and composure, even when conventional morality conflicts with operational demands. Finally, Mossad focuses on long-term potential, not immediate performance. Ordinary people may seem unremarkable at first, but their latent abilities, observation, composure, empathy, adaptability are the building blocks of elite operative training. The agency is patient, ensuring each recruit is fully prepared, psychologically and emotionally, for the challenges ahead. By the end of selection, the ordinary individual begins to realize their life is changing forever. They may still appear normal to the outside world, but internally, they are being transformed. Mossad doesn't create heroes. It reveals extraordinary potential in the most unassuming people. These recruits become invisible, adaptable, and emotionally controlled, ordinary on the surface, extraordinary beneath. And this is just the beginning. Once a candidate passes Mossad's rigorous selection, the real transformation begins. This isn't about physical strength or flashy gadgets. It's about rewiring the mind, reshaping ordinary habits, routines, and even personal identity. What was once a normal life, friends, family, hobbies, predictable routines, is gradually replaced with the mindset of a covert operative. The process starts with controlled isolation. Recruits are slowly separated from their previous life. Familiar routines are interrupted, old patterns questioned, and dependence on prior social networks minimized. This isn't punishment, it's careful calibration. The goal is mental flexibility, helping recruits accept new structures without resistance. Isolation is paired with incremental stress. Candidates are placed in subtle psychological challenges designed to test composure, judgment, and adaptability. It could be a delayed instruction, an ambiguous task, or a confusing ethical dilemma. Nothing is overtly dangerous at first, but every scenario measures instinctive reactions. Mossad trainers observe, analyze, and adjust, ensuring the pressure stretches the mind without breaking it. A major focus during this stage is dismantling assumptions. Recruits learn the world is unpredictable. People are not always what they seem. Trust must be verified. Routines and intuition alone can no longer be relied upon. Observation and adaptability become the operative's foundation. Emotional control is critical. Ordinary people respond instinctively to stress, excitement, or fear. In espionage, those impulses are dangerous. Recruits are guided to observe emotions without reacting immediately. Fear, frustration, even excitement can exist internally, but externally, calm and composure must be maintained. Over time, emotional responses transform from vulnerabilities into tools. Mossad also emphasizes judgment under uncertainty. Recruits face ambiguous scenarios with no clear right or wrong. How quickly do they analyze? How effectively do they weigh options? How do they respond to unexpected complications? These exercises train recruits to think critically, act decisively, and accept responsibility, even in morally gray situations. Speaking of morality, ethical flexibility is another cornerstone. Operatives may need to deceive, manipulate, or influence for strategic purposes. Mossad gradually exposes recruits to morally complex situations, teaching them to act effectively without losing empathy entirely. This builds what trainers call moral resilience, the ability to make hard choices without being paralyzed by doubt. Memory and perception are honed simultaneously. Recruits are trained to notice details others miss: a slight shift in posture, a hesitation in speech, a subtle environmental change. These observations, combined with memory training, become operational tools. Ordinary people, once trained, can reconstruct events, detect deception, and respond with uncanny accuracy. Social recalibration is another key component. Recruits learn to interact with a wide variety of personalities, often adopting multiple personas for practice. They must balance authenticity with concealment, empathy with detachment, spontaneous social behaviors, oversharing, joking impulsively. Revealing personal thoughts are replaced with deliberate, strategic interactions. Every gesture, tone, and word is intentional. Simulated field exercises reinforce all these lessons. Candidates navigate complex, controlled scenarios requiring observation, decision-making, emotional control, and adaptability simultaneously. Time pressure, ambiguous goals, ethical dilemmas, and emotional triggers are layered to test performance under stress. Mistakes aren't failures, they're teaching moments. Controlled error ensures resilience without fear. A subtle but profound goal of this stage is detachment from prior identity. Recruits question assumptions about personal limits, old habits, and societal expectations. They retain their core selves, but a new operative mindset overlays their identity, prioritizing analysis, observation, and adaptability over routine behavior. This psychological reshaping is gradual. Weeks and months of observation, evaluation, stress inoculation, and reflection fuse to transform ordinary individuals into elite operatives. They begin to think like spies, analyzing, predicting, and adapting in ways that feel natural but are meticulously trained. Emotional resilience, ethical flexibility, and operational judgment become second nature. By the end of this phase, the recruits are fundamentally changed. They can remain calm under pressure, make decisions in uncertainty, read people with remarkable accuracy, and respond emotionally in controlled ways. Old habits have been reshaped, instincts refined, and mental frameworks reconstructed, laying the groundwork for advanced technical and field training. The most remarkable part: many recruits don't realize how much they've changed. To them, it may feel like personal growth or enhanced observation, but in truth, Mossad has invisibly reshaped their mind for espionage. When candidates move on to formal training, they are no longer the same people who walked in. Ordinary behaviors, routines, and instincts have been systematically deconstructed, refined, and replaced with deliberate, controlled operatives' habits. The psychological transformation is complete, invisible, but total. By the time recruits reach formal Mossad training, they are no longer entirely ordinary. They have survived selection and endured psychological transformation. But now comes the hardest part: turning potential into skill. Mossad doesn't teach spies to rely on gadgets or action scenes from movies. Their focus is on creating invisible weapons, operatives who achieve extraordinary outcomes while remaining unnoticed in the ordinary world. The first step is tradecraft fundamentals. Recruits learn the principles of observation, information gathering, and operational security. Every action is analyzed: how to move through a public space without drawing attention, how to observe behavior discreetly, and how to spot anomalies in patterns of life. Minor slips, a glance that lingers too long, or a gesture that feels unnatural, are corrected immediately. Repetition turns awareness into instinct, creating habits that operate below conscious thought. Next comes surveillance and counter-surveillance. Operatives learn to follow targets without being seen and, just as importantly, to know when they themselves are being watched. They practice walking, sitting, and interacting while maintaining full awareness. Scenarios start simple, but complexity grows quickly. Multiple targets, unpredictable behavior, and variable environments push recruits to adapt in real time. A critical skill is social manipulation and influence. Recruits learn to read emotional cues, respond to subtle provocations, and form instant rapport, all without revealing their true intent. Mossad emphasizes that influence is not coercion. It's guiding others' behavior naturally. Every gesture, word, and tone is practiced until it feels instinctive. Memory and observation skills are drilled extensively. Recruits must recall details after distractions, under stress, or after time delays. They notice facial expressions, microgestures, environmental changes, information most people would miss entirely. This mental acuity allows operatives to reconstruct events, detect deception, and act decisively with incomplete information. Ordinary people, once trained, become extraordinarily perceptive. Physical skills are subtle but essential. Mossad focuses on agility, situational advantage, and survival mindset. Hand-to-hand techniques emphasize control and leverage, not brute force. The operative's body becomes a tool for observation, stealth, and adaptability. Every movement deliberate, efficient, and nearly invisible. Stress inoculation is a major part of training. Recruits are placed in high-pressure scenarios, unexpected events, time limits, and complex social interactions so that calm, measured action becomes second nature. Early mistakes are expected, analyzed, and internalized. Over time, stress becomes a tool rather than an obstacle. Decision-making under uncertainty is emphasized. Operatives rarely have perfect information. They must act decisively despite ambiguity. Exercises simulate incomplete data, conflicting instructions, and high-stakes consequences. Recruits learn to evaluate risk, anticipate outcomes, and act with confidence, trusting both analysis and intuition. Identity adaptation is continuous. Operatives practice multiple personas: professional, casual, or undercover. Speech patterns, gestures, and social cues are adjusted until the role feels natural. The operative's presence must always feel ordinary, even while executing extraordinary tasks. Ethical and emotional control remain central. Mossad trains recruits to detach from impulse while maintaining empathy. They learn to influence, gather intelligence, and navigate morally ambiguous situations without compromising objectives. Ordinary emotional reactions are replaced by deliberate, strategic responses. Finally, all skills are reinforced through simulated field exercises. Recruits face complex urban scenarios, combining observation, influence, surveillance, and identity adaptation. Mistakes are magnified for learning. Successes are reinforced. The goal: composure under chaos, seamless application of skills, and operational instinct that feels automatic. Every action, decision, and response is analyzed through continuous feedback loops. Trainers highlight strengths, weaknesses, and strategies for improvement. Ordinary recruits learn critical self-awareness, developing the ability to anticipate others' reactions and adapt strategies accordingly. Risk management and contingency planning are drilled repeatedly. Recruits anticipate failure, identify hazards, and prepare multiple responses to unpredictable situations. This foresight extends beyond missions, into social interactions, personal safety, and daily life. Ordinary people gain rare and invaluable foresight, able to think multiple steps ahead while remaining calm. Repetition and habituation make skills instinctive. Observation, influence, memory recall, emotional control, and identity adaptation are practiced together until they become automatic. Ordinary behaviors are overwritten with operational habits, efficient, subtle, and nearly invisible. By the end of this phase, recruits are transformed. Ordinary in appearance, extraordinary in skill. They can operate undetected, navigate complex social environments, and achieve objectives that would overwhelm most people. The transformation from civilian to operative is almost complete. The most striking part: this mastery is invisible. Recruits don't boast about their skills. They don't reveal intelligence, expertise, or physical ability. Their power lies in subtlety, a glance that notices what others miss, a conversation that guides a decision without detection, a presence that influences outcomes while remaining unseen. This is the essence of the Mossad operative, an invisible weapon forged from ordinary people trained to perfection. By the time a recruit completes Mossad's grueling training, their outward appearance hasn't changed. Friends and family still see someone ordinary, someone who laughs, works, socializes, and blends effortlessly into daily life. But inside, the person has changed irreversibly. Their mind, emotions, and moral compass have been reshaped, leaving marks that last long after training ends. Every thought, every subtle action carries the weight of responsibility. One wrong move could end a mission or even cost lives. One of the heaviest burdens is emotional isolation. Operatives form attachments carefully. Friendships can become liabilities. Family relationships require constant secrecy. Even small emotional disclosures carry risk. Over time, this creates a persistent sense of solitude. Operatives may feel deeply connected to their mission, but distant from those around them. Identity fragmentation is another cost. The person who entered Mossad is no longer the same. They are now a composite, part ordinary human, part highly trained operative. Balancing these two selves requires constant vigilance. Every gesture, every word, and every reaction is monitored internally, ensuring alignment with their covert role. Ethical tension is constant. Mission objectives often conflict with personal values. Deception, manipulation, and morally ambiguous actions become daily tools. While Mossad trains operatives to compartmentalize, the mental strain is unavoidable. Decisions made in the gray zones of morality leave lasting impressions on conscience and self-perception. The pressure extends beyond missions. Hypervigilance becomes a permanent state. Crowded streets, online interactions, casual conversations, everything is filtered through the lens of operational awareness. Ordinary life never feels completely safe because the operative is always alert. This persistent tension contributes to fatigue, anxiety, and a sense of otherness. Social connections suffer too. Meaningful relationships are difficult to maintain because full disclosure is impossible. Trust is selective, intimacy is rare, and ordinary social norms often feel incompatible with the covert world. Ironically, the skills that make operatives highly effective observation, discretion, influence can make personal bonds challenging. Even success carries a bittersweet note. Operatives achieve remarkable feats, influence events, and protect national interests, yet recognition is rare. Their effectiveness depends on invisibility. Achievements go unnoticed by the world outside intelligence circles. Operatives must reconcile extraordinary ability with outward ordinariness. Psychological resilience is crucial. Operatives must remain composed under crisis, manage fear and stress, and recover from setbacks quickly. Each operation tests their emotional, mental, and physical limits. Stakes, even minor ones, carry weight. Survival and success depend on constant adaptation and internal strength. The impact on identity is profound. Operatives often question who they are outside their mission. Skills like emotional control, deception, and adaptability essential for success can feel incompatible with ordinary life. They live with a duality: the person they once were and the operative they have become. This balance is lifelong, rarely fully resolved. Even after missions end or operatives retire, the effects linger. Heightened observation, instinctive vigilance, and emotional detachment remain. Ordinary life can feel constrained, relationships may never fully recover, and trust is permanently complicated. Yet, despite these costs, Mossad operatives continue to operate effectively. They are ordinary people transformed into elite professionals, capable of extraordinary influence, perception, and decision-making. Their invisibility is both a tactical advantage and a psychological burden. They move through the world undetected, achieve remarkable feats, and carry the weight of secrecy silently. The reality of espionage is not glamour or excitement. It is human minds honed to precision. Ordinary appearances masking extraordinary capability and sacrifices few will ever witness. Emotional isolation, moral compromise, identity fragmentation, and constant vigilance. These are the hidden prices of elite intelligence work. The world of espionage is not about gadgets or action scenes. It's about human minds, human behavior, and the transformation of ordinary individuals into extraordinary operatives. If you found this story fascinating, subscribe to Spy Shadows so you never miss a deep dive into real intelligence, psychological mastery, and covert operations. Hit like, share with someone who loves true spy stories, and comment below. Which part of an operative's transformation surprised you the most?